Man, how did you how did you get into photography?
I guess photography kind of found me in my frustration of trying to be a normal undergraduate student. I had a lot of music equipment because I had played in bands. Someone gave me a little Kodak, like $100 digital Kodak. I think it was 2 or 3 megapixels. It was digital. And I had a little dog, and I started taking pictures of him like running around everywhere. And I was like, this is really cool. This is fun. Like, I think I'd like to, try the manual settings. And so I sold my Music Man half-stack guitar amp. I got like $500 for it, and I think that was about what the Nikon D50 cost.
Oh, okay.
So that was like my first camera investment, and it just took me from there.
And at what point, I guess, did you know, like, okay, this is something I can chase as a profession?
It was that year in 2005.
With the Nikon?
Yeah.
Dang.
And then I made a website, and I just started telling people, that I'll do photos, and started charging money. And
greenery in your photos. What is the inspiration behind that? As I noticed in a lot of your pictures today, it seems like you focus a lot on like nature and being out hiking, and where did that come from? Where did that idea like spark from? What made you go that route?
Yeah, that came from my childhood, from my parents. My dad, he would take me on his back, out hunting, hiking, camping, bicycling. I would say it was probably every single weekend thing.
Oh, really?
In my childhood, yeah. So I hadn't connected like my background of outdoors with photography. For me, it was more about starting my own thing and doing something that wasn't necessarily expected from me. And so I kind of went in the opposite direction. Since I enjoyed lighting and lighting on people, I was naturally like attracted to fashion photography.
Okay.
And so I started experimenting with that. I was connecting with like models locally and doing shoots for them, and which eventually led to moving to Seattle, and I got into a studio space in Pioneer Square, and it was part of the first Thursday of the month art walk.
Okay.
And so I would do gallery shows, and so I would just make projects and collaborate with other creatives. And
how long were you in Seattle then?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah, almost 3 years.
And this is after college, right? You said.
Yeah.
How did you go from Seattle to Korea? Like, what drove you that way?
Well, there's the viaduct in Seattle.
Okay.
Highway 99. It goes over Pioneer Square, and so the Department of Transportation, they started to dig a tunnel under the ground and basically kicked all of us out. There's this 5-story artist space down there, and they were going to dig under it, and so they kicked us out, and they handed the tenants some money. So I got a check,
right,
and I got the boot. That's what opened that's what kind of pushed me to go. But before that was always just kind of an interest in East Asia.
Okay.
And then in those 3 years, especially living in Seattle, I was meeting, I was networking with several different Koreans, like creatives. One especially, she designed clothes. She made costumes for theater shows. There was a couple shoots that I did with her, just in collaboration, and those were in gallery shows. But she had some contact. She said, there's these people that she'd love to introduce me to in Korea that could get me shoots, get me connected. And so I knew that the eviction was coming up,
right.
And so I just started planning for it and started studying the language a little.
Was it already told to you like what exactly you would be doing, like that drove you to be like, Korea is really going to be the move? Or was that just like you knew you were going to get this money, you just wanted a new adventure, or you know what I mean?
It wasn't really, at the time before I went, there was nothing that was more than just opportunity to try something. So it was really just leaping in faith, I guess. I mean, it's a different country, a different culture, and looking back, you know, my business experience in America didn't just necessarily translate there, and I probably could have been a little bit smarter about that, but I just jumped at it, I guess. So university is really important for like every job, basically.
Really?
Like so for the models, there are universities that specialize in modeling, and if you want to be a model, like, you have to do that.
Oh shoot.
And like with photography, there's like, you know, the couple good photo schools, and getting to know your instructor becomes your kind of like, he's your way into the workforce.
Oh, okay.
It's like it comes with recommendations, and there's just a little bit higher level of like seniority, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Where I just felt in America, like, if you're doing something edgy, you're doing something different, it's like people recognize that, and like, you can just be self-taught, you know, and you can just be out on the internet and
YouTube,
you know,
your way
and
up.
find people. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now there's YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, in Korea, in my experience, there was a lot less of that.
So you go to Korea,
Yeah.
you know, like, basic language, you know.
Well,
you gotta,
eventually learned it after 6 years. Yeah.
so you were there for 6 years?
I was based in Seoul for 6 years.
Never.
You know, I moved there like in the summer of 2011, and then I still had weddings that I was shooting and people contacting me. So I would fly back and shoot like a couple weddings, you know, or like 3 weekends, and then go back. And so
when you were down there, what'd you do, I guess, for money, like, job-wise?
I was freelance, and so I would say, yeah, I mean, it was just really hard to, like I was saying, to do the same type of business strategy I did here and there.
Right.
I was shooting some weddings, I was doing some fashion shoots, and there was some money, but it wasn't really enough to support me. So I did teach English part-time for the last 3 years there.
Oh, wow.
I taught, I taught all the way from two years old to like, yeah, adult age.
Adults.
Yeah.
Last time our conversation about, what's it, Fashion Week?
Seoul Fashion Week.
Seoul
Yes.
Fashion Week.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I started making friends with these photographers, especially some of them that were working directly for the Fashion Week.
Oh,
I became friends with them, And so when the next season came around, one of them who was like kind of the head of the photographers had asked me, you know, hey, do you want to like kind of join us up and like, you know, we'll give you some assignments, like, you know, because there's 2 shows going on right now, and my other photographer, you know, he has some other thing to do,
right?
So you can go shoot that for me. And I was like, hell yeah,
yeah, that's dope, man.
So I actually I actually did photos directly for Seoul Fashion Week.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
And,
do you have those magazines? Do you have those like,
mm-hmm.
and you keep them like framed or anything? Just
they're on
away?
the shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I've framed that stuff. After that, when did you end up meeting your wife? Talk about that.
Well, from Fashion Week.
Oh, you met her from Fashion Week?
I didn't meet her at Fashion Week, but I met her
From
because
that.
of Fashion Week. Yes. She was the assistant designer, I guess was her title, for a menswear.
Yeah, right.
I was at the point where I wanted to like work directly with someone to improve Korean. We met and we just met to learn languages, and you know, so we have like books, you know, that we're studying and like working on pronunciation, and yeah, it just progressed from there.
How was your Korean when you asked her on a date?
It was better than her
Yeah?
English.
I got that's
Yeah, but I did kind of just, I don't know, like I kind of lost some drive and creativity in the last couple of years there, and because the photography just wasn't going like I thought, it wasn't picking up like I wanted it to,
right.
And so I got a little bit depressed, I guess.
Oh, really?
And so transitioning back here, it was really slow, honestly.
Right.
I was starting over,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it took some time. I look back though, and it's like portraits, weddings, to like the studio, the gallery, and doing creative projects, into like fashion, and then, you know, it's just this kind of this progress where it's almost like, you know, I'm sweeping through all different types of photography, you know, and so now coming here, I'm finding some of my next niches, I guess.
Right. So coming back here, was that when you started maybe rediscovering or discovering the connection between your photography and nature?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did that occur? Was it just like, I'm gonna go on a hike and shoot, and then did that kind of, you know what I mean?
No,
your point?
It started not completely separately, but it started kind of separately, like just wanting to get in, you know, go out and do something on my own, you know, and it wasn't like I want to go out and take pictures on this mountain.
Right.
It was just, I need to get out and just like explore my own thoughts, basically, you know.
Yeah. You to do because you currently have like the Airbnb experience package.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, so North Bend, Snoqualmie Pass, and then like kind of Packwood area are the 4 experiences I have. So, but on Airbnb, on their website or the app, you can just go to experiences. You don't have to be even interested in staying anywhere.
Oh, okay.
And so you can search through experiences that you do. And so we meet at a location that's easy to meet near a trailhead. We drive to the trailhead, and then we start a hike. Like Rattlesnake Ledges in North Bend, that's one that typically I do at sunrise.
Oh, okay.
And then Little Sai is like part of Mount Sai. It's just a peak that's shorter, so I do that in evenings.
Oh.
We go to like the destination, the top,
Okay.
and then I do like a mini portrait shoot.
You're also doing your own version of that, right? That's separate from Airbnb.
Yeah, like specifically like in Tri-Cities area.
Are you already launching that, or are you still scouting spots to go to?
I'll always be scouting spots.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But
What you're wearing.
yeah.
That thing is awesome.
Sure.
Here, let me see. Can you get up? Yeah. Here, I might even turn this on just because I want it. That thing.
Yeah,
is awesome,
I'm wearing my own shirt.
And what does it say on?
It says perspective comes after the climb. It is currently one of my Airbnb experiences.
Wow.
It's an extreme hike. But so the outdoor thing, and then I am doing like merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really something on the side. It's
Is there like a name for the merchandise, like a brand name for it?
I kind of going with Ant on a Hill.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's cool. How did you shoot for YouTube?
their the United States travel manager. Through her, I photographed her daughter's senior pictures. They were like part-time living in Roslyn. There's kind of a famous cafe in Roslyn, and at the time they owned it. And yeah, they liked the photos that I did of her daughter, and we were just chatting, or she sent an email, and she was like, I'm also the touring manager for the band U2, and she's,
Did you know this already, or?
No, I didn't know that when I was photographing her daughter. No.
Oh wow.
And but yeah, she's like, we'd like to hook you up. So yeah, I stayed in the hotel that they were staying in, and then went up to the suite, had breakfast with them. Wow. And so I got to talk with the members, except for Bono. He was kind of occupied. But then when before the concert, I got like a tour of the understage. The understage was like the backstage. Like, there's no pictures of the backstage. But they did say I could take some shots on my phone. And
okay.
I just feel like intention has been like just this word that's just been in me for like several months now, and it's like really, I don't know, helping giving me like direction. It's like, well, if my goal is, to continue to support my family through photography, and it's to do the creative photography that I feel called to do, it's like I need to be intentional with like every minute of my day, basically.
That word intentional is something that pushed everything for me. Was like with the phone, shooting with the phone was intentional, because I knew if I waited to get a camera, I was like, this probably would never happen.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna see how it looks on the phone. Threw it on the phone, and it looked good enough, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna have everybody just grow with this and go from there.
Well, it's how you use your time.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
It's like yeah, most people go to work and they work for someone else, and then they come home, but what are you doing with your time when you're not doing that? It's like, because you could be doing your own passion, and you don't have to make money with it, but you could make money with it, and it could develop over time.
It's changing now, where people are seeing how social media and just the internet in general can actually develop careers for people if they really invest the time. But you have to invest the time. Like, it's really easy to get home from work, be tired, and just watch Netflix, and that's it, or you can do something you truly have a passion in and enjoy and get some happiness out of, and that could possibly lead you somewhere. You just don't know, man. Life is crazy, Yeah, man, it's been great. Thank you so much for being a part of it.